Screencastify is a great tool that teachers and students can use to create their own videos. And once you realize how easy it is to create a screencast video, the sky's the limit with where you can take it as a teacher and the types of activities you can have your students do with it. To get to it, and I'm logged in as a student account right now, to get to it, it's the same for teachers and for students. It's just screencastify.com. And then when you get Screencastify for the first time, any new user is going to click this blue Add to Chrome button here. It is free. There is a free and a paid version for Screencastify. The free version is awesome. It has all of the editing tools available. The only limit is that it limits you to 5-minute videos, but you can create as many 5-minute videos as you want. If you want to pay for Screencastify for a teacher account, it's $29 a year. And then for students, there's school pricing. So you can actually request pricing here to get pricing for a whole school or for a whole class. But to get Screencastify added to your Chrome account, all you do is click the blue button. It's going to take you to the extension store. I already have it downloaded, so it says remove from Chrome, but it'll say add to Chrome here in blue so that teachers and students can add it to Chrome. Once you have Screencastify added, it shows up in your extensions puzzle piece. So if you click on the little puzzle piece next to your image, your avatar, then you should be able to see Screencastify here under your list of extensions. I use Screencastify all the time, so I like to have it pinned so that that pink little Screencastify bubble shows up here at the top. So once you've got Screencastify added, it is very easy to use. All you do is click on the little Screencastify button up here, and then it pulls up this menu. So you've got some different options. You can do different types of videos. If you choose the desktop, which is the default, it's going to videotape, or it's going to film everything that's on your desktop. If you choose webcam only, it's only going to film with the webcam that you choose. If you have a computer with more than one webcam, it'll show up down here. My computer only has one. Some teachers or students may have an external camera that they can plug in. It'll show up here from their camera. I like to do desktop so that I could actually screen share. This is great for giving students instructions. It's also great for students to show their work. So maybe they pull up their essay or they pull up their math problem, and then they make a video of themselves explaining their steps as they work through their thought process. So if you choose desktop, then you can choose for your video to turn on your microphone. And if you have a microphone plugged in, it'll show up here. Usually just choose the one that's called default. Like right now I have my headset plugged in, so it could choose that. I'm just going to choose the default. That's the built-in microphone on the computer. And then I'm going to embed my webcam so that that shows up also. As a teacher, when I make videos, I like to include the webcam so that my little picture shows up in the corner. It gives your instructional videos that nice personalized touch for students. As a student, I would want my students to embed their webcam also so that I can see them as they're talking through their thought process or presenting their screen for whatever it is you're assigning. Yeah, I'm actually on the student account right now, but if you're on the teacher account, it looks identical. It works the same no matter what. The only difference is that this is the free version, and so it says 5-minute limit at the top, or that's the only thing you'll notice between the paid account and the free account. Otherwise, the way it looks for teachers and students here is identical. Under more options, I like to make the countdown just a little bit longer. I mentally cannot be prepared in 3 seconds, but for whatever reason, 5 seconds is long enough. 10 seconds feels like an eternity, but the countdown will actually beep for you so that you know when it's coming. You can show the drawing tools by toggling that on. That's nice to have so you can actually annotate the screen during your video. Again, that's great if you wanted students to go through a math problem or show their work or circle something in their essay or whatever it is they're doing. And I'll show you how the drawing tools work during a video. System audio, I don't normally mess with, so I usually leave that one toggled off. So those are all your different settings for preparing to make a video. Once you've got your settings chosen and you've decided, do I want my microphone on or off? Do I want my webcam on or off? I like to do desktop. If you do just a browser tab, it's much more limited. It would just show the tab that you're on. So since I like to switch tabs, I like to keep it on desktop. But once you've got all that chosen for your settings, you're going to click the blue record button, and then I will we'll wait for the countdown and I'll show you what it looks like as it's recording. Next step, because it's not going to just start recording. It lets you choose, do you want to record your entire screen or just a window? So you can see I've got a bunch of different windows open right now. I generally choose entire screen. For students that are on Chromebook, this is also a best bet. Screencastify does work on iPads, but I haven't played with it as much, but it works really well for students with Chromebooks. Like guaranteed, they'll have absolutely no issues using it on their Chromebooks. So you choose entire screen. You've got your little webcam built in here, which I can move. I can increase and decrease the size, but because I did that, this went away. There we go. So I'm going to choose my entire screen, and then I'm going to click share, and now I'll get the countdown. But you can see that it's recording because my little Screencastify button up here has the little red dot. I can also tell it's recording because the Screencastify tool menu is down here, and my webcam is here. I can close my webcam if I don't want it at any point. I can move it while I'm filming. I could increase or decrease the size while I'm filming. The tools down here are excellent. You can use the pen and change the color. And then, you know, as you're showing your work, you can go, hey guys, look at this right here. And then it circles whatever's on your screen. If I switch tabs, that circle stays behind on the previous tab. So that's really nice if students are showing their work. The rectangle tool is just that. It just draws a rectangle around stuff. The sticker tool has just a couple of stickers. There's not a whole lot of choices. Kids who are used to cell phones are going to be like, man, that's really limited. But if you click it and then drag it up, you can put a sticker where you want it and be like, yes, 100%. The eraser tool works just like any other eraser tool. You can erase stuff. You can also just, you can move the toolbar. You can use the mouse. The mouse is great because as you hold down on it, that little pink circle shows up. So when you click on things, this is great for student demonstrations. When you click, that shows up so your students know where you're clicking. You can even do a focus mouse, so it spotlights things, so you can like work through your word problem and show them the steps. The fireworks one, when you click, you get that little firework. So there's a lot of different options here with the tools, which are all going on while I'm recording the video. Since I have my toolbar up, I can actually pause the video, which is great if you have a student who loses their place and just gets like a little flustered, they can pause it. Or there's the stop button, which is great because you're done. So you just stop the video. Once you stop the video, it's going to open it up in edit mode. And now I can see the video that I just created. And I was recording my Screencastify video for 2 minutes and 26 seconds. What you can do now that it is in the, it's now saved automatically. It's saved as untitled, so you can go up here and change the title. It's going to save automatically to drive here. The longer your video, the longer that it'll take for that little bar to fill up. And then once it's done, you have a shareable link. So if you record your video and you're happy with it the first time, you have a link right there that you can then share. So what you would do as a student is copy this link and then attach it to your Google Classroom or Seesaw assignment. Some other ways that you can share are with the share button here. You can publish it to YouTube. Students can only post private videos because there's some changes that have happened with the Google permissions for students who are under 18. So let's try it unlisted, and then I'll upload the video. So uploading to YouTube is great as a teacher because when you're on your teacher YouTube account, and all APS employees and students have their own YouTube account, you can create your own channel with your instructional videos to share with your students. Students have their own account, but as a teacher, you could then copy your link, and now you've got a YouTube link that is accessible and open for parents, for students. Like if you wanted to do an open house video, this would be a great way to do open house digitally instead of sitting around waiting for parents to show up to your Google Meet. Just send them a video for your open house. You can share your video with an embed code and embed it in, if you have a Google website. You can send it in an email. So maybe you wanted to send a student a quick feedback in an email or a quick explanation of something. You can generate a QR code. You can share it directly with Google Classroom. Like there's so many options. But for teachers, it works great because then you can choose which class to share it to and then automatically create your assignment with your video that you shared. You can also download the video. This is nice if you want to save it to your local device and then work with it later. You can export it as an MP4, as an audio only. So if you're recording a book or something, or an animated GIF, that's actually a great way to do instructions, is to create really short, 20-second videos on how to click and where to click. And then when it's a GIF, it just replays again and again so that you've got those instructions right there ready to go. So those are all the ways to share it right here as it is. Let's say my video is not perfect. Then I can open it in the editor and actually edit the video. So this is a nice option for, maybe kids who say too many times, or you screw up in the middle of it, or there's a dog barking in the background. The editor is a great way to take care of all of that. So I'm going to open my video now in the editor. And now it's going to open a new tab for me. So the editing tools look a little overwhelming at first because there's a lot happening on the screen, but they're actually super easy to use. So in the middle here is what your video looks like currently. Like this is what frame I'm on. Down at the bottom is the running progress of my video. And at the very bottom, that little blue bar that is kind of mountainous, that's your audio. So it's actually really cool that you can see your audio as you're going. What I like to do when I'm creating videos is wherever there's dead silence and there's no blue bar is I edit that out. So you can play your video and listen and watch. So as you're going through, you're like, oh, that part's unnecessary. So I'm going to click my mouse here, and you see how that little yellow bar shows up around the bottom of it? Now I can cut that. So let's say I've got 10 seconds of dead silence that I don't like, or I flub up and I mess up and I had to start over. You can cut your video at any length, at any point in the video. Then you can go to the next spot and cut it again. And then whichever part is highlighted in yellow there, I can delete it. So now I've actually removed that piece from my video. So that's really great if you've got kiddos who are perfectionists and they don't like their video the first time, but they don't want to redo the whole video. Editing can be great for that. So that cut and delete, that's a great way to handle your video, editing out the bad parts. Cropping is really nice because let's say I'm a student or a teacher and I don't want them to see what tabs I have open at the top. What I can do is use that crop tool and then use that little window that pops up. And let's say I'm going to cut out the top bar and bottom bar of my video because I don't want them to see my tabs I have open. Or, if you're on Classroom and you're on your document and you only want to see the document, you can crop it like that. Then I click done. And now this video has that all cropped out, while this little piece, because it was a separate image video clip, it still has the bar at the top while the next one doesn't. So that's really cool to be able to crop out the outside edges. It just makes it look more professional and finished if you're making your own videos. I would suggest if you're going to do that, crop it first instead of cutting it and deleting pieces, because then each individual video piece snippet will have to be cropped individually. This blur tool is nice. So let's say you're making a teacher video and you've got a student's face. This was used a lot when teachers were recording Google Meet and they wanted to have videos of their students, but they didn't want to show their students' faces. You just put your cursor wherever you want to start. you click the blur button, and now I've got this little blur box down here. So I can actually move that. Let's say I want to blur my face. I'm going to move it over my little video camera in the top corner there. You can change how blurry you want it by choosing the intensity bar. And then you can actually stretch it. So right now, if I play this with this little blur here, I'm only going to be blurred out for a couple of seconds. I'll show you what that looks like when we play it. So as you notice, as it goes over this blur section of the video, I was blurred out during this period, but not the whole period. So what you do is you click on it and then use the drag just the edge of it to increase the length of your blur. So if you've got a video with some, student information or a student face or an ID number, you can blur that out for whatever length of time you need to. So this is a great way to have some privacy. You could have students use their web camera and then blur it out the whole time. That way, maybe they have a background that they're embarrassed about, they're sitting at home, their house is messy, whatever. That blur tool shows that they're still there, they're still the ones talking, but it's blurred out so you can't quite see what's happening. The text tool works really similarly to the blur tool in that you have to put your mouse where you want the text to show up. You click the text tool, and then you can write something in the box. Okay, and now that I've got this text, I can highlight it, I can bold it. The tools are a little hard to see over here. You can change your font size. So let's say I want to make it nice and big. I can change my color. Let's say I want to make it purple. It's not letting me change that for some reason. Okay, so the text, oh, there we go. The text color tools are down here if you just keep scrolling down. So I want it to have a red background and be white text. There we go. And then what you can do is you can click and drag the little box. You can click and drag it to, part of the screen. And then just like the blur tool, I can click and drag the edge of it to make the text show up for longer. So that's great if you've got students who are doing like steps in a scientific method. Then they could do step 1, here's my hypothesis, step 2, and they could actually put in little text boxes to title their sections. That's a really great way to organize their videos. Well, once I'm done editing my video, only what shows up here, this little thumbnail preview, that's what will be seen by the audience. And I'll show you what that video looks like when I download it. So this is just in the editing tool. If I wanted to export this, my video would look like just what's here in this center screen, outside, inside from my tabs down. So since I did a screencast, I'm seeing my whole screen. If I wanted to do just a webcam, you could have students just use their webcam and take a video of just themselves. They could do like, a Google Slides and make a background or something like that. If you wanted to do like a background behind the webcam, then Flipgrid would be a better option. Screencastify is really for showing your work on your screen. So I would have my students, go to Classroom and then go to their assignment and show their work, or create a slide deck with a comic strip and then narrate the comic strip. So you could do your slide deck in presentation mode and then narrate over the presentation or something like that.
Okay.
So there's only a few more editing tools left that you really need to worry about. The blur, the text, the cut and crop, those are really the ones that I use the most. Students don't have to make their videos in Screencastify to edit them. They can actually click the Add Media button and then upload a video that's been saved to their Google Drive or saved to their Chromebook. So, maybe they took a video with their Chromebook camera earlier. They can upload that and then edit it with the Screencastify tools. The only limits there is that their video has to be shorter than 5 minutes. The only other thing they can upload is a title. So I'm going to click over here, see if the title will show up at the front. So at the very beginning now I've got this little title, and so they can title it whatever they want. And then just like the text box, they can scroll through the teeny tiny menu over here and change the font size or the color. You know, the color choices are a little limited. Okay, why didn't, oh yeah, so that changed it yellow. So now when I play my video from the start, instead of starting with my video, it's going to start with this, this title card. So now it looks like this. And you can see it in the little preview window there. So the editing tools are great. Students can use them to, and teachers too, can use them to edit their videos to make them shorter, crop them, add those text titles, those things like that. Once they're done with their video and they're happy with the way it looks, then they click export. You can export it to Google Drive, which is recommended, especially for Chromebooks, because Chromebooks have very little internal storage. So if they export more than a couple of videos, it's going to slow those Chromebooks down really bad. But if you export it to Google Drive and then give it a name, this actually saves it in a different location than the saving it from here did, because this is technically a different video because I've edited it now. So both versions will exist, your original and your edited version. So that's kind of cool. They'll never lose their original version, so they can go back to it if they need to. It's going to take a minute to load. What I wanted to show you is that when I'm on my Screencastify page here, which was after I ended my video, or when I go to screencastify.com and I go to my account. So I can see here that on my account at screencastify.com, I am signed up for the free plan, which is great. No changes need to be made. If I go to record, I can then open my recordings and see all of the recordings that I have made previously. So most of them I left untitled because I didn't use them or whatever. So you can actually go in and delete them or open them and then edit them. If you click on the edit button, it's going to open up the editor and it'll bring you back to that page where I was previously. You can get to that same screen both from the screencastify.com link website, but you can also go to the options menu in the top here and see your recordings here or open the editor here. So there's a lot of ways that you can use Screencastify. I think it's a fantastic tool to do screen recordings and web camera recordings. It works really well with Classroom. All you would do as a student is go to your classwork, go to your assignment, and then once you've viewed the assignment, you can add, and then you would add a link and get the link for your video, which is now right here. So now I can copy this link, attach it to Google Classroom, and then mark my assignment as done. So that's pretty easy for students to do. With the littles, with the younger kids or the less tech-savvy kids, it'll take a few times of you walking them through it, but really the hard part is getting them to feel comfortable recording. After that, it's just a list of steps of getting that link and then attaching it to Classroom. So you could have your students make a video where their webcam is half the screen, and then they show their essay or their project on the other half the screen. Or, and I'll just start a fresh recording so you can see what that looks like. I'm just going to go webcam only. And now it's just a webcam video. And so for the webcam video, there's no toolbar because I can't annotate it. It's only using my webcam. So the only option you have here is pause and stop. But then when I stop it, it's going to open up a tab. And then just like the screen recording video, I can title it, I can open it in the editor, I can get that shareable link and share it to Google Classroom or whatever. So, you know, this, if I get that shareable link and then I open it in a new tab, you can see what it looks like as a video. It's going to be just the webcam. So that's a nice option if you just wanted students to talk about whatever it is they're doing, or this is what a foods teacher did last year when kids were working from home, was she had them set up their Chromebooks in the kitchen and then filmed themselves in the kitchen making their food using their webcam as their video source for their videos. So let's say I'm going to go back to classroom. Let's find an assignment I've turned something in for. All right, so what I would have my students do is, let's say that this is their essay. And so they'll pull up their essay. Let me close some of these tabs. The nice thing is Screencastify saves automatically. So even if they close their tab, they're never going to lose it. Like it's always going to be saved if they go to screencastify.com. So let's say that this is their essay, and then they're going to go to Screencastify Extension, and then do desktop with embedded webcam, because I like to be able to see their faces as they talk. And then record. And I'll move myself back down to the bottom, but I'm going to make it a little bit bigger to fill the space. And then I choose entire screen and then share. After the countdown. This is my essay called Small Classes Will Save Our Schools. And my thesis is, when a class size gets too big, students can't get the education they need because other students can distract them. And here is my thesis statement. So I'm going to stop that, but you can kind of see how students could talk through their project while they have something pulled up here and use those tools maybe to circle the different parts of their project. Yeah, I think for slideshows, that would be really great. What I would love to do is have kids use slides to create like a picture book, or, you know, write a story and have different pages. And then when they go into presentation mode, they can just click next in presentation mode and go through it and read their story or narrate their pictures. Like, I think that would be a really cool project to do. Yeah, so I think it's great for, you know, showing off your thought process. I think, you know, especially for things like math, where it's really easy to Google the answers. If you can show your thought process and how you got to your final answer, what a great way to actually prove that they did their work. Or, you know, narrating a story, like reading their story out loud, practicing your fluency, you know, practicing saying things in a foreign language to get that oral practice. Like, there's so many different ways I could see using videos, even though we're back in school. You could have kids take their Chromebooks into the corners and do like little group videos where they stand up in front of their Chromebook and act something out together using the webcam only feature. Like, there's, I don't know, I think there's a lot of ideas.